please take a seat. And now I will introduce the 5 panelists. When you hear your name, please head up to the stage and just take a seat. First, we have YC, Business Development Manager at Moledao. And then we have Anndy Lian, the book author of this new NFT book, Zero to Hero. And he's also the Chief Digital Advisor. Next, we have Jenny, who is the BD lead at BYBIT NFT. Next, we have Guangmian, Integrations and Partnerships lead at Kleros. Guangmian, please. And last but not least, we have Faye, the founder of Unschul. Fantastic. So welcome all panelists, and now I will hand the time over to our moderator, Alvin. Alvin, please. Thank you.
Hello. Okay. Thanks, Jinhan. So welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us here today. So the topic for this first panel of the day is NFTs, the bridge between Web 2.0 and Web 3.0. So how this is going to start is like we'll do an introduction of all the speakers, and then we'll go into a few different topics like the fundamentals of NFTs, how brands and corporations are entering the NFT space, and the future outlook of NFTs that all of the speakers have. So I'll begin with myself. I'm investment manager at NGC Ventures. We are a fund that's been around since 2017, invested in quite a lot of projects, from the ICO boom up to the previous cycle, Solana, Avalanche, and more. So we have invested in quite a lot of games and NFTs as well. So, and I personally have bought quite a few NFTs in both Ethereum and Solana. So that's my background in a very brief sentence. YC, let's go in this order.
Hi everyone, I'm YC, Business Development Manager at Moledao. You guys already heard about Moledao, so I'll share a bit more about my previous experiences. So I started my professional career in NFTs as an NFT analyst. So researching about the fundamentals of NFTs, like in March of last year. So before like almost the world was talking about it, got into NBA Top Shot, EV, Rumble Leagues, and eventually I started to realize that there is this very interesting thing about NFTs, which no one's talking about, which is the digital ownership, which we will go into more detail about that later. So apart from that, I was also a growth lead for NFT 11, a Singapore-based blockchain game. I managed a portfolio of NFTs for a family office as well. And right before Moledao, I was a marketing executive for Metabus, NFT marketplace based in Singapore. So yeah, love NFTs.
Hi, I'm Andy. I'm a book author, NFT from Zero to Hero. Apart from that, I give advice to different governments. I'm very close to Mongolia, South Korea, and just happy to meet all.
Hi, I'm Jenny from BYBIT NFT Marketplace. BYBIT NFT Marketplace, we're still very new. We're 10 months old now. We provide a one-stop solution for artists, creators, and collectors. So if you guys have a really interesting NFT project, come to me anytime. Thanks.
Hi everyone. My name is Guangmian, the Integrations and Partnership Lead at Kleros. For those of you who do not know, Kleros, we are a dispute resolution platform on Web3. We actually use arbitration to resolve disputes for DAOs, for users, and users who have issues with DAOs. So arbitration is different from arbitrage. For those of you who are more familiar with just DeFi, we're actually solving disputes using a decentralized tool. So more on that later for the discussion. So over to you.
Hi everyone, I'm Faye. I do art auctions here in Singapore. Hold on.
Okay, all right. Thanks speakers for introducing yourselves. So let's dive right into the first subtopic, the fundamentals of NFTs. So I guess most of you out here, you are familiar with NFTs to some degree, but I think we'll start off the first question as like, what are the existing utility of NFTs and how are they valuable? Would any speakers like to start off?
Sure, I'll start off. So the thing about NFTs is that there's a lot of utilities to it, right? Like depending on how you position it, right, from a company can be a membership token like Bodyguard Club or the Pudgy Penguins like my profile picture over there. It could just be a digital collectible such as NBA Top Shot, which is a digital trading card, DD like a digital action figures, or art like Beeple's, the very famous NFT sale last year. So the utility of NFTs really depends on how it's being used and why and how it's positioned from the creator's point of view.
So the question is about what utility, right? So I think NFT, a lot of us will look at it more from an art perspective or just a very silly PFP, right? But I think just to bring a little bit more insights, there could be a lot of different things that NFT can evolve in. Number one, you can look at title deeds, right? You can look at ticketing, So a lot of these things are around, and governments are actually looking at this scenario very closely. They are looking at putting on their ID on NFTs, they're putting on their passport on NFTs. So there's a lot of things that is going on for utility. But again, because right now we are still fairly early, so most of us are only talking about pictures, and then collectible and so forth. But things will evolve, trust me.
NFT, actually it is just a digital ownership of a digital asset on blockchain. Anything, a digital asset, any digital asset can be an NFT. It could be a piece of music, a movie, a JPEG, or just a moving, anything can be. And even a book can be an NFT. Recently we just launched a NFT book on BYBIT NFT Marketplace, and this is our creation. The book NFT from Zero to Hero has been turned into an NFT, and you can find it on BYBIT NFT Marketplace. We are trying to explore all the possibilities of different NFTs. We have music NFT, we have book NFT, we have all kinds of PFPs and game assets, of course, and we're exploring more. So I also want to hear more ideas, more utilities about the NFTs from other panelists.
Yeah, so I think so far we've been talking about NFT use cases that are meant to be sold, but there are also, I think in the past 6 months, we saw increase in usage of a new kind of NFTs, which is for identity verification credentials. I think that is very interesting because it is not meant to be sold per se, but meant to be, I think some of you may have heard the term soul-bound tokens. It's meant to be, NFTs has always been transferable, right? It is like implicit that you should be able to transfer and sell it. But what if it is not supposed to be transferred? What is if it's supposed to represent something that you are or something that you have done? And I think that's very interesting because it opens up things like reputation systems, allows you to know the credibility, trustworthiness of someone, even though you don't know their entire identity off-chain. And I think NFT is, that is one of the most promising use cases that I see in the coming year.
I think everyone summarized pretty well. NFT to me is really just a receipt on blockchain. It's a technology. And what you use that technology for depends on what the use case is and what problems you're trying to solve.
Okay, thanks, speakers. So I'll just add in a bit about some of my own opinions also. This is not financial advice. I'll just share some examples of interesting use cases. So I bought an NFT called the Zheng coin flip. If you own the coin, it gives you a revenue share from this online casino. So you can, now it's called Legion Fat Cats, you can search for it if you want. So that's an interesting use case. It's actually a security, it's going to violate the security laws, but the team is anonymous, so they try to avoid that way. Yeah, I think, and then on the other hand, you have people like Kobe on Twitter saying that NFTs are just altcoins with pictures on them. The way they trade is very similar to altcoins, just based on high fungibility, high liquidity, and the way the trading volume works is still mainly an avenue of speculation. That's just to add on like how it's currently being done. But I'm not saying that's the only way, but that's the majority of like the top ranked NFTs trade in that way. Okay, so anyway, right now that brings us to the next topic. Like right now, with the bear market, interest in NFTs has been dropping. So how do you think we can move forward from here? By the way, feel free to like if you want to respond to a point by another speaker, just feel free to go ahead. Yeah, so anyway, the question is, how do you think we can move forward with NFTs in the current bear market?
So I think for NFT itself, like the past half year, 8 months or so, we've noticed that it's a lot of just random projects coming out every other hour, right, trying to get people's money, you know. But I think moving forward here, the important thing is education about what NFTs truly are and how they can really be used, right? Instead of just being random animal JPEGs on the blockchain where you can trade for hundreds of thousands of dollars. It should really be educating people about the underlying technology, right? Digital ownership of digital assets, right? As we are moving from a physical world into a digital world, right? Like from physical mail to email, saving things on the hard drive to the cloud now. So everything is going digitized, and educating people on what NFTs actually are and how it helps them with the authentication of digital assets. I think that is one way to move forward on what NFTs are going to be in the next couple of years.
I just want to add on to what YC has mentioned. I think you know, all these animal PFPs and so forth, I mean, they do serve a certain purpose, you know, back in the better days. But right now, they also serve another purpose. The purpose is no longer expensive. It is more for fun. So I actually wrote I think a 4 or 5 pager back to basics about NFTs. You know, I think I mentioned something like 10 Ps, you know, the marketing piece. So I think when the market is bad, you know, all this animal PFP creates communities. Because in the past, there's no way you would fork out maybe 150 ETH to buy a crazy looking headshot, you know, of an animal. But right now, maybe it's just $1. You know, then people ask you, then what is the value of NFTs? You know, the value of NFTs is the community. Is how you're going to build everyone together. And that's something that is really lacking, because everyone out there are looking at the price. Oh, I make a 10 ETH today, I make 20 ETH today, you know, but that is not very practical during this period of time. So right now, you should really look at low price NFT, create the kind of community. You know, like the lady at the other end, she's running like selling art and so forth. You know, you should take the opportunity, for example, you know, to use NFT that looks really silly, but then you can actually create another pool of people who really like what you do. You know, it's a lower version, and that is really going to create wonders. You know? So I still want to mention that during the bear market, I think the price matters. You know, and then stop thinking about, you know, speculation. Stop thinking about a few $1,000 return profits. That's not practical. You know, get more community. Find some really simple utility behind it. You can grow very well, you know, in this bull market.
Yeah, I totally agree with what YC and mentioned. We are definitely entering into a digital world. And like I mentioned before, like all the digital assets, they are naturally NFTs, actually. So we have like more and more like possibilities and opportunities. So we're still at this very baby stage of NFT. So like many people, they say like, oh, I don't have an ape, I don't have a punk, like am I too late? No, you're still at a very early stage. And I also agree with like what Andy has mentioned, the community is very important. Like BYBIT NFT, although we started out very, very late, but now we have 600,000 users in our community, and it's strong and it's growing. I don't see, yeah, it might be a bear market. It depends on how you look at it. But for BYBIT NFT marketplace, we are still growing very, very fast. Like every week, we will have like a 20K to 30K new users using our NFT marketplace and purchasing their first NFT on BYBIT. Why? Because it's easier. You know, for most of the newcomers, newbies, they don't know how to make a decentralized wallet. They don't know how to link their decentralized wallet to OpenSea or something. So it's too difficult. The technical barrier is too high. But for BYBIT, you only need an ID and a password, and then you can purchase your first NFT. And I think in the bear market, it is the best timing for you to grow your product. Whether you are a project or you are a marketplace, for BYBIT NFT Marketplace, we launched our new product line just last month, and we are doing good. And Andy's new book, NFT from Zero to Hero, was the first NFT on our new product line, and it sells really good. And you can still find it on BYBIT. It's only $2.99, but now but we sold out within like 1 million, 10,000 pieces. So it's been great. I have to say, like for some of the projects, it's obviously the bear market. But for those who are hardworking and exploring new possibilities, there are like no bear market. We're still growing really fast.
Yeah, I think we were talking about the bear market in terms of like the value that is transacted on the blockchain represented by NFTs, right? But I would like to see the statics. I don't have it myself. I would be very curious to see what about the NFTs that are minted as, let's say, achievement badges, as tokens, as community achievement, whatever, pull-ups, Git pull-ups. I'm not sure whether some of you have heard of Project Galaxy. They are extremely successful in used as a marketing tool for DAOs, and we are using it themselves as well. They are amazing, and I think that they have minted at least several million NFTs in the past few months as marketing projects for different DAOs. And all that is not recorded as commercial or economic activity in the NFT world because they are all free. But it adds such tremendous value for DAOs, for devs, and people who are building projects. And I think there are certain kinds of products that are actually better sold as an NFT than otherwise. And I think your book is a really, really great example where you price it at $2.99. It is sold as an NFT. And I think you're also aware that the book could have been put as a PDF, put on IPFS, and then you could have pulled that book for free, right? But the fact that you sold the book for a very, very low price on a chain that has zero to no gas fees, certainly it becomes very interesting, almost like buying a token to represent your fan clubdom of this author. So I think it's a great idea, and I think more people should be doing that.
So I think we're in a bear market overall because we don't have enough users here in Web3, right? And then the ultimate way to get people to come into Web0 use any crypto product is to get rid of the UI UX and people not being aware that they're actually using a different product. And when that happens, when you're not aware that you're actually buying an NFT and you just happen to have something pop up in your wallet, that's when you get more users, and that's how you get over the bear market.
Yes. I have a question for you. I was checking on your website, and it doesn't seem you did not advertise that you're selling your art as NFTs, right? But are you actually using it in the background to power your online marketplace?
No, so we auction NFTs, we auction physical art, but they're two separate products. We don't use NFTs.
I see. Okay.
Okay, thanks, speakers. So let's move on to the next topic: brands and corporations entering NFT space. So the first question here is like, how does the use of NFTs as a technology disrupt existing institutional systems and applications? Andy, do you want to start, since you actually have advised some of the governments and other big organizations on using NFTs?
Sure. You mentioned about brands and so forth, and then you mentioned about government. I think these are all very different sectors. So first of all, I think for government, they are more straightforward. They are looking at solutions that we could use and implement. ID is something that is widely talked about, but to be honest, most government talk, but don't have the guts to really push and implement it hard, because there are issues behind it. So this is number one. And then when you talk about brands and so forth, to be also very honest, most of the brands right now, they are not heavily investing into the NFT technology. They are looking at on a very surface level. Just like what maybe what Ape or what Punks are doing. You own that NFT, you are part of the community, you are given special perks, special entry to different places. A lot of the big brands, big leading fashion brands are doing the same. For the VIP customer. But does it mean anything to them? To be very honest, it does not. Because ultimately, the high roller, high spender, they just need to walk in, they will recognize their face, and they'll bring out the very nice bags. So they are not really putting out that kind of effort, in the NFT market, because they are also looking at wait and see kind of model. Of course, Nikes and the whatnots, they sold NFTs and they make a lot of good money. But that's not sustainable in my humble opinion. Because if you want to move this long enough, you must really put yourself very deep into the Web3 environment. Web3, there's no communities. It's just that there's no, everyone is very scattered in the Web3 environment. You do a project, they do a project, they do a punk, you do an ape, all do the same. So it becomes very scattered. So the reason why I wrote the book is also not because I have fabulous content. I try my very best to come up with all the different content, the things that I've used, and then using that book itself, I hope to give it to some of my friends, who are in the government sector, or who are in the SME sector. Because they are constantly being bombarded with information that is, to them, is out of the world. There's one consultant, they walk in, oh, I'm a OG, I don't know what OG is nowadays, OG, and they say, oh, I'm going to, advise you on the NFT, how you can do this and that. So, but again, a lot of them are very dubious, So I hope I give them the book, they can use the book to look through some of the examples that I've quoted, and then make things a lot easier, So the other example is, instead of going to OpenSea, it just means, and then none of their users are, all the old uncles and so forth, they don't know what to use with their wallet, then must as well go to BYBIT. Of course, BYBIT is here, I say BYBIT, they're not here. It's a centralized exchange, does have a certain role to play, and then with that, I hope that, the institutions, for example, or the brands, for example, they can find a common ground where they can understand what is NFT, they can educate, they find more information, the right information for NFT, then everyone can grow together. So whether it's bear market or bull market, it doesn't really matter, because everyone is still building. Unless right now you tell me that, you don't want to work in the NFT market or crypto market anymore, and then you go and sell cosmetic. Or maybe you get out of the industry. But far and few, people who believe in the technology, they will stay. Everyone will stay, and then when we all group together, we share the right information. And by sharing the right information, institutions can then come in with a better mindset, a longer mindset. They will develop things that will enable them to go into the Web3, and they believe that Web3 is something that they want to do. Because right now it's still in a stage where it's just look and see. So I hope to share that point of view from my end.
Yeah, I want to mention that I think that there are actually some things that are better sold as an NFT than this current world representation. And I think one example of that is actually, if I'm wrong, I think it's very controversial. I think sneakers are better sold as NFTs than as sneakers. A lot of the people who are collecting sneakers are not planning to wear them, they are planning to put them in a glass case somewhere in their house and hoping that it will trade for a higher value in the future. Or they might be collecting it and just feeling the pride of having owned this piece of footwear, right? But for any of you who have traded sneakers or know people who are in sneakers trade, you know that there's a lot of fraud in that industry. There's a lot of work going into verifying whether a sneaker, a limited collection sneakers, is actually that, right? So I think Nike with their Crypto Kicks collection recognized that, and they capitalized on that and earned 186 million out of that. And I would say, I'll say rightly so, but I think they recognize that it is not about the shoe, it is about the design and about the ability to collect that. And sneakers was actually supposed to be an NFT project all along from inception. That's one of my opinions. And I think another thing is domain names, name services. Anybody here has an Ethereum name service, an ENS? Yeah, so I think that is a great thing to be sold as an NFT. It is sold as an NFT. Unstoppable domain names, right? Those are also sold as NFTs, unstoppable. And those things should not belong to any jurisdiction, to any company. And now, by binding to an NFT and allowing the owner to change which addresses it points to, I think it is a great use case, and it's better as an NFT than it was before. So, anybody want to disagree with my comments?
I totally agree, because me myself, as a listed DD, I listed two DID projects recently. So we also think the DID means digital ID, which is also the domain name, whether it's .eth or .nft or .web3. We see a lot of those projects which are really, really interesting. They are not only giving you a digital identity, they are also giving you a lot of benefits. By holding this, they're airdropping you the token. By holding this, you're part of the community. By holding this, you belong to this little circle, and then you will receive a lot of benefits. So NFTs now, they are more than pictures. They are having more and more utilities and benefits. If you are buying this book NFT on BYBIT NFT marketplace, you actually got a book. You can read the book on BYBIT. I think it's really cool. I'm proud of it. So, the question is a lot of brands and corporations, they are entering into NFT. They are adding on NFT. For ordinary users, getting from Web 2 to Web 3 is difficult. And for corporations, it's also very difficult. For them, they don't have the right tools, they don't have the right people, they don't have the developers. There's a lot of things stopping them. But if they are going to a decentralized marketplace, there's nobody helping them. But if you are coming to BYBIT NFT marketplace, we are providing you with a set of tools, toolkits. Now the merging, airdrop, whitelisting are the thing that in the NFT. If you want to be popular, then you must have this. But for many of the projects, they only have 3-5 people. It's really difficult for them. But we have those functions on BYBIT NFT marketplace. You just need to design your tokenomics. You just need to design the images, and then you can use all the toolkit on BYBIT. So we are not only lowering down the entry barrier for the users, we are also lowering down the entry barriers for those brands and those Web 2 projects that want to get into Web 3. So really proud of it.
Yeah, and it's slightly different from what they've been saying. From my perspective, when I think about brands entering using NFTs, one example comes to mind is Death Club. So it's actually by a band called Avenged Sevenfold, and they're actually using NFTs to create this new brand of Death Club, which is essentially a membership club for their fans, right? And by using NFTs, it actually gives them direct access between fans and the band members themselves, which is completely unheard of before NFTs were available, right? And when the NFT first launched, right, owners will magically airdrop 2 concert tickets to any of their show worldwide just because they own these NFTs. And this is the kind of relationship that NFTs, that brands can use to build with their fan bases.
Thanks, speakers. So I think we started a bit late, so we're trying to end a bit faster. I'll just ask a final question for everyone. So this is about the future outlook of NFTs as we move further into the industry. So what do you see, just in a short 1 minute statement, like what do you think, what are you most excited about in the next 1 year or so for NFTs in the development?
Okay, for me, for the next 1 year or so, what I'm looking forward to in NFTs is really the innovation behind how people are using NFTs to create communities, like what everyone has mentioned here, and also using NFTs as identifying, like how to say. So when you think, when people wear brands and outfits, right, like Nike, Gucci, they're trying to signal some kind of status. I believe in the next 1 to 2 years or so, owning different kind of NFTs, showing that you're part of different membership clubs, or like representing different brands, like Web3 brands. That's what I'm looking forward to, and seeing what all the different brands are coming up with.
I hope that NFT can continue to grow, and I really hope to see the gaming industry adopt more NFTs. I'm not talking about those blockchain games that cannot play on. I'm just talking about those AAA games. The AAA games should really look at bringing NFTs into their platform. I think there are a couple of them who have already done that. Epic, and so forth. But I hope to see more of them, because I think that the driving force in the next wave will be led by NFT. And NFT exchanges or marketplaces will also be the next thing that we should really look at. Because if you look at how the market is moving and how the assets are moving, I think NFT exchanges are really something that will grow.
I mentioned at the very beginning, we are still very young. We are only 10 months old. When BYBIT decided to enter into NFT, is a big decision because we see the future. We see that NFT gonna be the fundamental, is gonna be the most important part in Metabus. And if we are entering into the digital world, if the future is digital, is in Metabus, then NFT is something that you must look into. So it's not only for a year or two, it's kind of like the future plan. So we are pouring a lot of resources into it, and for sure, NFT, if NFT is the future and it is the key to the Metaverse, to the digital world, so I think it is better for everyone to get to know about it faster. Because the faster you get in and you know it the correct way, to get into the right community and to use the right platform, the faster you get to know it, the faster you become one of the community. I think the future will be brighter for you. So for BYBIT NFT Marketplace, we do evaluation for projects. So not like those decentralized platform, everybody can upload everything to decentralized platform. But for us, we do the filtering. So for the newbies, you will not buy a copycat or fake stuff or something has some IP problem on BYBIT. So at least it's gonna be very, very safe and secure for you. And we audit all the contract for all the assets that are on our platform.
Yeah, I think in the coming year, the thing that I'm most excited about is actually changes and improvements to the underlying infrastructure beneath NFTs. One of the biggest challenges right now for NFTs is the listing and the enforcement problems around it. If you created an NFT or you're buying an NFT that is, you're not sure whether it was the art was stolen from somewhere else or it was unethically acquired. Yeah, how do you know that, right? And how do you know that across different exchanges? If OpenSea flags it, does it mean that BYBIT will flag it as well? Does it mean that other marketplaces will flag it as well? So what are some universal solutions that can be applied here? I think that would be very interesting to explore. And another thing is when it comes to the security and law enforcement in this space, how can we create infrastructure that allows stolen NFTs to be recovered to the owner regardless of where it is being sold? And there's actually research being done by protocols like Lossless. There's a working group at Stanford as well working on new ERC 721 and 1155 standards to prevent thefts at the blockchain level, the protocol level. Yeah, so I think those are very exciting to watch, and I hope they come to the market eventually.
So I think the trend in NFT for the next year would be DAO NFT and GameFi NFT, as well as NFTs attached to physical items. Though I would like to see personally more interesting, more innovative uses of NFT that are more suited, especially in the secondary market trading space, because I think that's where NFT really thrives.
Okay, thanks, Peter. So I'll just end it with like my own views, and then we'll end this panel. So I personally, as VC, one of the areas I'm most excited about is ways to add liquidity to NFTs, whether it's through collateralized loans, AMMs on NFTs, or derivatives like futures on NFTs. So all these ways to add liquidity, market making on NFTs, I find it quite exciting. I mean, yes, it's not as it looks more at how NFTs are being used right now. They are still a venue of speculation, of exchange, but this is how they're being used now. I think we shouldn't ignore that. Yeah, of course there are a lot of other applications, but just pay more attention to liquidity, volume, and trading on NFTs. This is an area that I'm quite excited about. So yeah, I think that's all for our panel today. I'd like to thank all of our speakers for joining us, and the audience as well for joining us here today. So yeah, thanks everyone. So I'll hand it back to Yun Han for the next section with a keynote by the founder of Radio, Neil.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Albert, and thanks all the panelists for the amazing sharing. So if you have any questions on NFT, or you want to find out more about BYBIT NFT Marketplace, you want to find out more about Andy's new book, feel free to approach them after this session and just ask for their views and learn more from them as well. So thank you again to all the panelists. Great discussion. And with this, we have our next speaker. Just a show of hands, any of you here have your own blockchain project? Any of you have your own project? Alright, I see some of you. Alright, so for the next speaker, very interesting, he is the CEO of Radio, and he's going to share more about the ultimate blockchain scaling solution, Layer 2 ZK rollup APIs. So if you are a project, it is good for you to stay back and hear from Neil, because he's going to share more about his Layer 2 ZK rollup solution. Alright, so let's invite Neil Han, the CEO of Radio, up on the stage to share more right now. Thank you.
Thank you everyone and join me. So I'm Neil. So today I'm going to share